Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking another journey into the past to explore things that were once everywhere but have now almost completely disappeared. Have you ever stopped and wondered what happened to the everyday things people couldn't live without in the 1970s? Not the famous celebrities, not the hit songs. We're talking about the objects that filled homes, schools, offices, and city streets. The things millions of people used every single day without ever imagining they would disappear. Back then, these items were everywhere. They were part of daily life. People depended on them. Children grew up around them. Families couldn't imagine a world without these everyday objects. But today, many younger people have never even touched them. Some vanished because of new technology. Others were pushed aside by changing lifestyles. And a few disappeared so completely that seeing one today feels like stepping into a time machine. Their disappearance happened quietly, one item at a time, until entire generations forgot they ever existed. In this video, we're counting things from the 1970s that quietly disappeared from our lives. From devices that once connected entire families to inventions that changed how people worked, learned, and entertained themselves, these forgotten objects tell the story of how much the world has changed in just a few decades. And make sure you stay until the end because one of the final items was once found in nearly every home across the world. Today, most people under 25 have never used one. Let's rewind the clock and begin our journey back to the 1970s. Number 1. Rotary telephones. Long before smartphones fit into our pockets and connected us to the world in seconds, there was a device that demanded something many people have forgotten how to give. Patience. The rotary telephone was once the center of communication in homes across the world. During the 1970s, these phones could be found in living rooms, kitchens, offices, and even school buildings. If you wanted to call someone, there were no touchscreens, no voice commands, and certainly no texting. Instead, you placed your finger into a numbered hole on a rotating dial and carefully turned it all the way to the metal stop before releasing it. Then you repeated the process for every single digit. Calling a friend wasn't always quick. One mistake meant starting all over again. Despite this, rotary telephones became an iconic part of daily life. Families often shared a single phone, and important conversations took place right in the middle of the home where everyone could hear them. Many people still remember stretching the curly cord across the room while trying to have a private conversation or spending hours talking to friends late into the evening. As technology advanced, push-button telephones began replacing rotary models. They were faster, easier to use, and more compatible with modern telephone systems. Eventually, cordless phones arrived, followed by mobile phones and smartphones. Yet for millions who grew up in the 1970s, the sound of a rotary dial remains unforgettable. Number 2. Phone booths. Before mobile phones made it possible to call anyone from almost anywhere, there was a time when staying connected often depended on finding a phone booth. In the 1970s, phone booths were a familiar sight in cities, small towns, airports, train stations, shopping centers, and busy street corners. They served as lifelines for travelers, workers, students, and anyone who needed to make an important call while away from home. For many people, carrying a pocket full of coins was essential. Without them, making a call could be impossible. You would step inside the booth, close the door behind you, and listen for the familiar dial tone before placing your call. Some booths offered a small sense of privacy in crowded places. Others became meeting points where people arranged plans, checked in with family members, or called for help during emergencies. Phone booths also became cultural icons. They appeared in movies, television shows, and advertisements throughout the decade. For many children growing up in the 1970s, spotting a phone booth was as common as seeing a bus stop or a mailbox. Their presence was so ordinary that few people imagined a future where these public telephones would almost completely disappear from everyday life. But the technology that made phone booths so important eventually led to their decline. As mobile phones became smaller, cheaper, and more reliable during the 1990s and early 2000s, fewer people needed public telephones. Why search for a booth when a phone could fit inside your pocket? Convenience changed everything, and the once busy booths began to see fewer and fewer users. One by one, phone booths disappeared from streets around the world. Many were removed entirely, while others were converted into information kiosks, mini libraries, charging stations, or historical displays. What had once been a vital part of daily life slowly became a reminder of an earlier era when making a simple phone call required planning ahead and finding the nearest booth. Today, younger generations may pass an old phone booth without ever realizing how important it once was. Yet for millions who lived through the 1970s, these small glass boxes represented freedom, convenience, and connection long before smartphones existed. And while phone booths helped people communicate on the go, the next item on our list helped millions communicate at work, at school, and even at home, one keystroke at a time. Number 3. Typewriters. Long before laptops, tablets, and word processors transformed the way we write, there was a machine whose rhythmic clicking sound filled offices, classrooms, and homes around the world. The typewriter was once an essential tool for communication. During the 1970s, millions of people relied on it every day to write letters, prepare reports, create documents, and complete school assignments. Unlike modern computers, typewriters offered no spell check, no copy and paste function, and no delete key. Every word had to be typed carefully. A single mistake could mean starting an entire page over again or reaching for correction fluid to cover the error. For office workers, secretaries, journalists, and authors, typing quickly was a valuable skill. In many workplaces, the constant clatter of typewriter keys defined the era. Many students also learned typing in school. Accuracy and speed were highly respected because they could open doors to careers in business and administration. Some people even remember the satisfying sound made when reaching the end of a line. The typist would push a lever, sending the carriage back to the beginning of the page before continuing their work. It was a routine repeated countless times every day. Despite their limitations, typewriters possessed a sense of permanence and craftsmanship. Every document required focus and effort. There were no distracting notifications, social media alerts, or endless tabs competing for attention. Writers concentrated on the page in front of them, knowing that every keystroke mattered. The machine encouraged patience, discipline, and a deliberate approach to creating documents. By the end of the century, the typewriter had largely been replaced by computers. Today, most typewriters are found in antique shops, museums, private collections, or the homes of enthusiasts who appreciate their vintage charm. Yet for many people who lived through the 1970s, the sound of typing on a mechanical typewriter remains unforgettable. And while typewriters changed how people created documents, the next item helped families preserve precious memories. But change was on the horizon. As personal computers became more affordable, and word processing software improved, typewriters began losing their place in offices and homes. Computers allowed users to edit documents instantly, save files electronically, and print polished copies with ease. Tasks that once required significant time and effort could now be completed much faster with digital technology. Now, let's move to next one. Number 4, film cameras. Today, capturing a photo takes only a second. We simply pull out a smartphone, tap a screen, and instantly see the result. But in the 1970s, photography required a very different kind of patience. Film cameras were the primary way people captured life's most important moments. Family vacations, birthday parties, weddings, holidays, and school events were all preserved on rolls of film. Before taking pictures, the film had to be carefully loaded into the camera. Unlike today's digital devices, there was no way to instantly review a photograph. Once the shutter button was pressed, the moment was captured, but whether the picture turned out well remained a mystery. Families often had to wait days or even weeks before seeing their photographs. After finishing a roll of film, it would be taken to a photo processing lab where the images would be developed and printed. That waiting period became part of the experience. Opening an envelope full of newly developed photographs felt exciting. People gathered around to relive vacations, celebrations, and special occasions one image at a time. Let's proceed to number 5, cassette tapes. Long before music streaming services gave us access to millions of songs with a single tap, listening to music required something much more physical. In the 1970s, cassette tapes revolutionized the way people enjoyed their favorite music. Small, portable, and easy to use, these plastic rectangles quickly became a part of everyday life. For many music lovers, building a cassette collection was a serious hobby. Shelves and drawers were often filled with albums from favorite artists, carefully organized and proudly displayed. One of the most exciting features of cassette tapes was the ability to create personalized mixtapes. People could record songs from the radio, combine their favorite tracks, and share custom playlists with friends and family long before digital music existed. Making the perfect mixtape often required patience and careful timing. Listeners would wait beside the radio for their favorite song to begin, hoping the DJ wouldn't talk over the introduction. Many people also remember carrying portable cassette players during walks, road trips, or daily commutes. For the first time, music could travel almost anywhere. Despite their popularity, cassette tapes were far from perfect and could wear out over time. The tape inside could become tangled, stretched, or damaged. Sometimes a favorite cassette would suddenly stop working, forcing people to carefully rewind the tape using nothing more than a pencil. Strangely enough, that simple pencil trick became a shared experience for an entire generation. Despite these frustrations, cassette tapes became one of the defining symbols of the decade and changed how people enjoyed music. But technology never stands still. During the 1980s and 1990s, compact discs offered better sound quality and greater durability. Later, MP3 players, digital downloads, and streaming services placed enormous music libraries at people's fingertips. As these innovations arrived, cassette tapes slowly faded from everyday use. Yet for those who grew up in the 1970s, a cassette tape still brings back memories of favorite songs, long road trips, and simpler times. And while cassette tapes changed music, the next item changed home entertainment forever. Number 6. VHS video rental stores. Today, watching a movie is as simple as opening an app and pressing play. Within seconds, thousands of films and television shows are available on demand. But in the 1970s and the years that followed, movie night was an experience that began long before the screen turned on. For many families, a trip to the local video rental store was an event in itself. Rows upon rows of shelves displayed movie boxes featuring action heroes, comedies, horror films, cartoons, and family favorites. Customers wandered through the aisles searching for the perfect film to take home for the weekend. There was excitement in the hunt. You never knew whether the movie you wanted would still be available. Popular titles were often rented out quickly, leaving only empty spaces on the shelf where the tapes had once been. When families finally made their selections, they would take home large VHS tapes that contained the movie. These tapes were inserted into a VCR connected to the television. Unlike modern streaming services, viewers had responsibilities. If you forgot to rewind the tape before returning it, you might face an extra fee. Returning a movie late could also result in penalties. These small inconveniences became a normal part of the experience. For many children, visiting a rental store felt almost magical. They spent time examining colorful movie covers, reading descriptions, and imagining which adventure they would choose. Weekend movie nights became family traditions. People gathered in living rooms with snacks, blankets, and excitement as the VCR hummed to life. But technology eventually transformed home entertainment. DVDs arrived with better picture quality and greater convenience. Soon afterward, internet-based streaming services made it possible to watch movies instantly without leaving home. As a result, video rental stores gradually disappeared from neighborhoods around the world. Today, many former rental stores have become restaurants, offices, or completely different businesses. Yet millions of people still remember the thrill of walking through those aisles in search of the perfect movie for the weekend. For them, the experience was about much more than entertainment. It was about anticipation, discovery, and sharing moments with family and friends. And while rental stores brought movies into people's homes, the next item on our list was already waiting there. Number 7. CRT tube televisions. Long before ultra-thin screens covered entire walls and streaming services offered endless entertainment, television looked very different. In the 1970s, most families gathered around a large, bulky box known as a CRT television. CRT stands for cathode ray tube, but most people simply called them television sets. These TVS were heavy, often requiring people to move them, and they occupied a prominent place in living rooms across the world. Unlike today's crystal-clear displays, CRT televisions had curved screens and lower picture quality. Yet at the time, they represented cutting-edge technology. For many families, television was more than entertainment. It was an important daily ritual. Parents, grandparents, and children would gather together to watch favorite programs, news broadcasts, sporting events, and special holiday shows. Entire communities often watched. Missing a show meant waiting for a rerun, if one was even scheduled. There was no pause button, no recording option for many households, and certainly no streaming. Children often rushed home to catch their favorite cartoons. Adults planned evenings around popular television programs. Families discussed episodes with friends and neighbors the next day. Television brought people together in a way that feels very different from today. Many people also remember adjusting antennas to improve reception. Sometimes a picture would become fuzzy or filled with static, requiring someone to stand beside the television and carefully reposition the antenna until the image became clear. And who could forget the moment a television was switched off? Instead of instantly going black, many CRT screens shrank into a tiny glowing dot. As technology advanced, flat-screen televisions offered sharper images, lighter designs, and larger displays. LCD, LED, and smart televisions eventually made CRT sets seem outdated. Over time, these once essential household items disappeared from living rooms around the world. Today, younger generations may see a CRT television only in museums, retro collections, or old photographs, while older generations remember them fondly. For millions who grew up in the 1970s, these bulky screens delivered countless memories, from beloved shows to historic moments that families watched together. And while CRT televisions brought entertainment into the home, the next item on our list helped people carry information and messages wherever they went even before mobile phones existed. Number 8. Pagers and beepers. Today, sending a message takes only a few seconds. We can text, call, video chat, or share photos instantly with people almost anywhere in the world. But before mobile phones became common, staying connected often meant carrying a small device known as a pager, sometimes called a beeper. While pagers became especially popular in the years after the 1970s, the foundations for this technology were already being established during that era. A pager was a small electronic device that could receive messages or phone numbers. When someone wanted to reach you, they would send a signal to your pager, causing it to beep or vibrate. That sound immediately grabbed attention. People would stop what they were doing, look at the screen and see a number or short message. Then they would need to find a telephone to return the call. Doctors, emergency workers, business professionals, and many others relied heavily on pagers because they provided a quick way to stay reachable while away from the office or home. For many users, hearing a pager beep created a sense of urgency. It could mean an important call, a work-related issue, or a family member trying to make contact. Compared to today's smartphones, pagers were extremely limited. They couldn't browse the internet, play videos, take photos, or support apps. Their purpose was simple: alert someone that a message was waiting. Yet at the time, that capability felt remarkably advanced. For the first time, many people could be contacted while on the move without remaining tied to a specific telephone. However, technology continued evolving at a rapid pace. As mobile phones became smaller, more affordable, and capable of both receiving and making calls, pagers began losing their advantage. Text messaging, voicemail, and later smartphones made the once popular devices increasingly unnecessary. By the early 21st century, pagers had largely disappeared from everyday life. Yet for those who remember them, pagers represent an important step in the journey from traditional telephones to the always connected world we live in today. Number 9. Floppy disks. Today, a single smartphone can store thousands of photos, videos, songs, and documents without a second thought. But there was a time when saving even a small amount of information required a special device known as a floppy disk. During the late 20th century, Floppy disks became one of the most recognizable symbols of the computer age. Students used them for school assignments, office workers relied on them for important documents, and businesses depended on them to transfer information between computers. To younger generations, their storage capacity would seem unbelievably small. Many floppy disks could hold less data than a single modern photograph taken on a smartphone. Yet at the time, they felt revolutionary. People carefully labeled their disks with handwritten notes and stored them in protective cases. Losing one could mean losing valuable work, treasured files, or hours of effort. Many computer users remember the nervous feeling of inserting a floppy disk into a drive and hoping it would work properly. Sometimes files became corrupted, disks were damaged, or important information suddenly disappeared. Despite these frustrations, floppy disks played a major role in bringing computers into everyday life. They allowed people to save their work, transport data, and share information long before cloud storage and USB drives existed. As technology improved, larger and faster storage devices appeared. CDs, DVDs, flash drives, and online storage services gradually made floppy disks obsolete. One by one, they disappeared from desks, classrooms, and offices around the world. Today, many younger people recognize the floppy disk only as the save icon found in computer software. Few realize it was once a real object that millions relied upon every day. For those who remember using them, floppy disks remain a fascinating reminder of how far technology has come. And there you have it, 9 everyday things that millions of people once used, trusted, and couldn't imagine living without. From rotary telephones and phone booths to VHS tapes and floppy disks, these forgotten items remind us just how much the world has changed over the past few decades. For those who lived through the 1970s, these weren't just objects. They were part of daily life. They helped people communicate, learn, work, listen to music, capture memories, and stay connected to the world around them. Looking back at these inventions isn't just a trip down memory lane. It's a reminder of how quickly technology evolves and how today's everyday items may one day become forgotten relics of the past. Now we'd love to hear from you. Which of these items do you remember using the most? And is there something from the 1970s that disappeared but should have made our list? Share your memories in the comments below. We read every comment and love hearing your stories. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to Retro Rewind Network for more fascinating stories, forgotten trends, and nostalgic memories from decades gone by. Thank you for watching. And until next time, keep rewinding the memories. See you in the next video.